Hello everyone. It is Jackie from Pocket of Preschool. And tonight or today, whenever you're watching, we are going to talk all about environmental print activities that you can do or embed into your classroom to increase students' exposure to letters and sounds and all of the things. So I want you to tell me in the comments what your favorite environmental print activity is, or your favorite like go-to way to add environmental print into your classroom, like a center, or maybe it's an activity or a wall display, interactive bulletin board. Tell me how you use environmental print in your classroom. So really quickly, why we use environmental print is because we want to immerse students in literacy. We want them to see and notice and listen and hear what sounds letters make and just see them everywhere they possibly can, especially when they're so little and their minds are just like little sponges, because when they see letters or when they learn through play or through the environment, it takes a lot less learning opportunities than through a worksheet, right? Because it's making all of those brain connections and everything just syncs up a lot faster when they learn through play. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. My one favorite way that I use environmental print in my classroom, and it also helps my wallet, is in the Dramatic Play Center. So instead of buying all of the amazing pretend play sets, which they're great, but they can get a little pricey. So what I do is I save bottles and I put these in my fridge in my classroom. So if you don't have a lot of these bottles yet, what my favorite way to build kind of your stock of environmental print items or boxes or labels, anything, and which is perfect because the season's almost coming up. So I always like to do a grocery store and dramatic play in November around Thanksgiving, because it's kind of all about food month, right? Everyone is buying food, baking, eating. The month is a lot of celebrations with food, or for my culture and other cultures. It's the greatest way to kind of start your collection, because obviously you have the foods you eat, but your students in your classroom are going to eat different foods than you. Like this is a little honey jar a friend brought into our classroom for grocery store dramatic play, and I've kept it all these years. So yeah, and then how I make it look so realistic, you can tell this one's kind of fading, but all I do is I put paint on the inside of the bottle, like acrylic paint, like permanent paint, and then I shake it up, and then I keep the lid open and I let it dry. It usually takes a couple days to dry out, but that way the bottle is the same color as whatever it's supposed to be. So like the jelly has, this one I put purple paint on the inside. The honey has yellow paint. So yeah, so to make everything look more realistic, should probably put like a light, almost whitish, like color in here. You can also use glue if you want it to add like kind of like a shiny effect. So this is one way you can do it. And instead of buying like the ice cream set, save a carton of ice cream and put some pom-poms in it, you guys, and you don't have to have a lot. And literally an ice cream scoop, and now they're doing some fine motor, and you don't have to buy an ice cream set. These are just like large pom-poms, one of each flavor, and an ice cream carton with the scoop. Same thing for ice cream cones. I saved the box. If I have a box in there, I always cut the like lid part or the flappy part off so the box doesn't get ripped. And look, inside I have my ice cream cones, and you know I love to have different sizes of things. So there are small ice cream cones and large ice cream cones, and you guys, I made these like forever ago. They're just like, I drew the ice cream pattern on some paper and made ice cream cones. So we now have ice cream cones in our fridge that are different sizes. You can do the same thing with sugar. This is a sugar bag that I saved, and now they can pretend this is a scoop, like a measuring cup. They can scoop it out and pretend to put it in their measuring thing, and now I don't have to buy sugar, and it also has the word on it. Same thing with eggs. Get a real egg carton or save one and put your fake eggs inside. If this is too big for your fridge, just cut it in half. So again, it's a great way to add environmental print. It also saves you a little bit of money because you're not having to buy all these props then. And when you're using props like this, students have to use their imagination and pretend to put the honey in or pretend to put the barbecue sauce on. So a really, really fun way to add environmental print to dramatic play. All right. And then for blocks, around like whenever I do like a healthy me activity or like theme, or like a food theme. This is in my food, math, and literacy centers. So in the block center, I do building with containers from the grocery store, and we talk about positional words. So can they build under? Can they build, around? Can they build next to? Can they build over? And I literally just put a whole bunch of containers in the in the block center. They're also big. This is how they come in the unit. I printed them smaller to have an extra set. So that way they're building with containers, and we're also talking about positional words. And if you're wondering what containers I use, so I love to save cereal boxes. I also ask families to bring them in because there's big and there's little. And if you look at these, you can see there's tape on these. So I literally save them every year because you'll probably get like maybe 10 sent in, but that's usually not enough to build with. So I save them, and I save ones that I use all year long, and then I just tape the top. And so that way I have a bunch of small ones, and then I have a whole bunch of big ones. And like you can see, there's tape on this one. So I just get them all out, and then we build with cereal boxes in the block center, and they work on their prepositional words. So it's a really fun thing to build with. Also, if you eat anything, like my mom, when my kids were little, would always give them all of these different little snacks, which are covered in environmental print. So I saved all of them. This is how big the stack is. This is it. So it's just something different to build with, but there's letters on it, there's colors, there's shapes. So now they're building with the little food containers instead of cups or whatever it might be. So whatever you eat a lot of, or maybe you work in a center, like we, when I worked in my full day preschool classroom for the public school, we ate a lot of yogurt. So I would save the yogurt containers, and then they can build with the yogurt containers. Just save whatever that you eat or your center eats. Ask them to save it for you. And yeah, it's just something really fun to build with. And again, look, covered in letters, because you know what they do. They will go, oh my gosh, there's a C and my name's, there's a CH. My name's Charlie. That's my name, which it's not. It's just Chips. But you know how when they are first learning their name, they think that first letter means their name everywhere they go. And they'll go, oh my gosh, there's an I. Oh, look, Melissa, you have an I in your name. As they get older, they'll start noticing the other letters, and that words have different letters in them. But yeah, it's just so fun. And it again, if they notice the letters, awesome. They might not notice the letters, but again, the more they're exposed to letters, the more they're gonna see them. They're more likely to remember them and make connections to them, like in their name or in their mom's name or in their friend's name. If you don't have a bunch of cereal box collection like I do, like you guys, my stack's like this big now. That way I can pitch the ones that are really bad. And you guys, look how many times like I've taped this up, like a bunch. Like I just tape it up a bunch. And then also too, when you're doing this, it also is a fun way to bring their culture into your classroom, because they're bringing in what they eat at home. So especially if you're doing grocery store, to get some of those containers, maybe they eat something that your a lot of the friends in the classroom don't eat. Like maybe they eat like those seaweed crackers or something like that. That's really something different than everyone else in your classroom, but yet they get to share their culture and their home, what they eat at home with the classroom. So that's really fun. And it just builds a great classroom community. And also, when students are building with different things, like if you always have blocks in your classroom and they're building with blocks in the same blocks over and over and over, right? They're gonna know what the blocks do when they stack them certain ways, or how to balance them certain ways. But if they build with something new, they're gonna have to figure all of those things out, because this is something new to build with. And building with a cereal box that's flimsy and made of cardboard is very different than building with a wooden block or a foam block. These are gonna fall over easier. They're gonna have to carefully balance more. So they will have to problem solve and just have some higher level thinking going on, because now they're building with something new and different. So they're gonna have to challenge themselves and figure out how to build what they wanna build with the cardboard box versus the wooden blocks. So that's really fun. Also, all of these different containers also are a ton of different 3D shapes. So if you want to work on 3D shapes, you can put out building challenges where they're building with 3D shapes. Maybe they're going to build with cylinders or rectangular prisms or pyramids. That one's a hard one to find. Spheres, I usually put out fruit for this one, like the pretend fruit, because there's not a lot of sphere boxes. Cones, you can put out some either fake ice cream cones, or you can also put out those snow cones. Cups, you can buy those on Amazon. And then rectangular prisms and cubes. So we have, again, I put this has pink paint in it because this was in my dramatic play center. But look at all of these different cylinders. We have some rectangular prisms. Here's kind of a flat and skinny, or like a flat and short cylinder. So again, all of these containers are so many different 3D shapes. So explore 3D shapes using all of these containers that are full of environmental print. And then we get this back in. So the 3D shapes building activity and the prepositional words, both of these activities are in my food, math, and literacy center set, which I will link after we're done. So now that we have all of these containers out, I'm sure you know what I'm gonna say next. You can also measure how big these objects are. So you can use cubes to measure. So this one is that big. And then they can use cubes to measure how, oh gosh, how tall different things are. If you have bean rulers, which I'll put a link on how to make these on my blog. It's just some beans with tape. So they could also measure with beans. So this one is, whoops, the one at the bottom so I don't have to count. This one is 6 tall. This one is 9 tall. They can also put it in order from tallest to shortest. So that's really fun too. You can do a ton of measurement activities with containers, again, that are covered in environmental print, which will get them talking about and noticing letters. Even if the activity is math, they're still gonna notice those letters. Okay, so we got those things talked about. Okay, now I wanna tell you some more fun activities I like to do with containers that are covered in environmental print. So I love to make puzzles. So these are what we would have at my school for snacks. So I like to, just like for a regular puzzle, like the puzzles always have a box, right? So they know what they're making. And especially for younger learners, they may want to build on top, or if they're more advanced, they will be able to build it side by side. So that way, if they're struggling, at least they'll know what it's supposed to look like, right? So that way they can make the box. And now they have one to go off of. So always save 2 boxes, or some boxes have the same on both sides, but it's always really helpful to save one, so that way they know what they're building. Now you can make these puzzles as hard or as easy as you want. So you can, like this one, I have some trickier shapes. So there's some pointy shapes in here. Okay. Some pointy shapes in here they had to put together. So this one you can tell is a little bit harder based on the puzzle pieces. And I would just keep them in these baggies. Here's another one I did with food bars. Cheerios, I did one with graham crackers, Cheez-Its. And again, I just keep them in these baggies, and then when we need to do some puzzles, you can do some puzzles. And then again, when you're finished with grocery store, or maybe your grocery store from all the kiddos in your class bringing in tons and tons and tons of food boxes, if it's too full, take out things that match. and then you can make puzzles with them. And that way you won't be throwing away, or they won't see you throw it away or recycle it, but you can say, oh my gosh, I took 2 of the Cheez-It boxes from the grocery store and I made puzzles with them. Now, so those are one type of puzzle you can make with them. You can also make, again, we have another Cheez-It box. The puzzles that have, okay, you know it's a Cheez-It box, with the numbers at the bottom. So that has a 1, that has a 2, a 9. So now they're gonna have to, they can, or they can put it together too. So that way it matches up. And again, they have the box. This box doesn't match exactly like it, but it's pretty close. And they'll tell you, they're always like, Miss Jackie, that box doesn't match perfect. I'm like, I know, it's okay. All right. Oh, that's 4. I couldn't see the number. You may want to write in like a silver Sharpie because that black Sharpie is a little bit trickier to see, but you can see how we made the box, but we made it into a number puzzle. Now, if 10 is too much, if you think this is too much, just make it up to 6 or just make it up to 5. You don't have to make it to 10. If you teach kinder, work on teen numbers if this would be too easy. So 11, 12, 13, 14. So start at a number different than 1. So you can make it different levels. Now, I don't have boxes for all of these because I didn't have matches, but that's okay. They can just do them this way too, but ideally you would want to have the matching big box match, but you can tell this is real life, and I didn't have all the matching boxes, but I still had puzzles. So if you don't have the matching boxes, what you can do is make a number line, or really quick, just write numbers 1 through 10 or whatever your numbers are on like a strip of paper, and that way they can use that as a guide. So again, real life. I didn't always have the back, so that's okay, but I still made the fun puzzles. So you can make regular puzzles or number puzzles with your boxes. So we have that. All right, and then, oh, here's one thing I want to show you. So here's an example of a box, obviously, ice cream. I love ice cream. So this box is great because it has the ice cream bars on one side and the ice cream bars on the other side. So this one will be perfect to make into a puzzle because you could use the one side as the model, and then the other side you could cut up and either make it into numbers or you can make it into like a fun design puzzle. So, and then I also wanted to show you on a box like this. So you may only think, oh, this only has the Cheez-It on the front. Well, if you look on the top, I already used this again, but you could use this for another activity. Maybe you're gonna make another activity, or maybe you're gonna make like an alphabet book. You could use these smaller ones because these would work better. So save this part, and then save like this little part. And this, you could also save this side and this front. So out of this box, you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 pizzas, and there's even another one on the bottom. So that way you're not having to completely raid your pantry of all the boxes, and then you're left with bags of food in your pantry, which I have totally done for my classroom before. But that way you're getting a lot out of it. And then I did forget to say too, you can make an alphabet book with the little smaller labels from the boxes too. That's really fun. If you do make the alphabet box or an alphabet book, know, and you're gonna have to tell the students in your class that sometimes the letters make different sounds. Like when you put C with H, it turns into ch instead of k, like cat. So it'll just be kind of a discussion piece that letters make different sounds sometimes. Obviously for preschool, we're not gonna get into blends and all of those things unless their name is Charlie and they have a blend at the beginning of their name, then you're probably gonna talk about that with your classroom. So fun little way to get a lot of uses out of one box. The trays I am using, they are in my Amazon storefront, and they're under my tray tab. Okay, so now let's say you don't have a lot of boxes. So let's say you just want to use ads from your local grocery store. This works too if you don't have a ton of boxes. Oh, I have one more activity and then I'll go into that. Okay, so this one's a really fun one. It's kind of like, some space. It's kind of like an I Spy. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna put out a bunch of boxes all over. And then you're gonna give each friend a magnifying glass. And you're gonna say, okay, I spy the letter V. What sound does V make? And they're gonna say, okay, who sees the letter V? And then they're gonna go, I see the letter V, it's right here. And then the other friends are gonna find it. So you could do an I Spy game with that. So using magnifying glasses. You could also put out my favorite letter beads, like you guys know. These are linked in my Amazon storefront. They're actually learning resources, letter beads. I actually bought another pack because I use them so much. But I love them. So you could put out these little beads and you could, of course, I'm not gonna be able to find any letters that match, but like they could match the letters. So there's O in taco. Okay, W in wafer, R in fruit snacks. So you kind of get what I'm doing, right? So they're just gonna match the letters onto the boxes. Again, super simple, just really, really fun. P for pretzel. And they don't have to like say the sound. They can just notice that the letters match. Now, if you don't wanna do that, I have another idea for you. So these are in my TPT store for free. They're letter hunt mats. They come in uppercase, they come in lowercase. There's one with upper and lowercase. So you could give, of course I don't have a dry erase marker, but we're gonna pretend this is a dry erase marker, and you could give everybody a letter mat and they could say, oh, I see the F, and then they would trace the F. Oh, I see an E, and they're gonna trace the E. I spy a V, and they're gonna trace the V. So they're gonna try and spy all the letters of the alphabet, and you can get some handwriting practice in. I like to put, if you're not a worksheet kind of person, or you don't want to use a lot of worksheets, put it in a dry erase pocket. And now it's kind of like a letter mat instead of a worksheet. But again, they're talking about letters and they're noticing them and they're writing them. So again, these are free in my TPT store. I'll put all the links in when I'm done. So if you're watching the replay, go where the links are because all of these links will be there for you guys. And again, see, this is the side of that Cheez-It box. So I didn't even use the middle. So also keep all of these in like a big bag because these are great to use for a ton of different things. Because you can also do I Spy shapes. Oh, I forgot to tell you that. I have a shape hunt in my Teachers Pay Teacher store too, just like that letter hunt. So you can say, I spy a circle. They'll go, oh my gosh, I see a circle. I see a circle. Here's a circle. There's a circle. I spy a square. There's a square. Some of the other shapes are going to be a little bit trickier to find. Or I spy a rectangle. You could use the box. And sometimes they'll have diamonds and things like that. So you can also do this with shapes. So don't forget about that. And sometimes it's just fun just to give out the magnifying glasses because they won't really use them to search because it'll be hard to see. But it's just a really fun kind of making it a way to make it a little bit more hands-on. Or they can be like a letter detective or a shape detective and they can find the different things. So, like I said, if you don't have the boxes, use food ads. Now, make sure when you put these out, if like you're doing a cut and paste activity, take out all the alcohol or anything that is not child appropriate out of your food ads. So do that. Don't get me in trouble because you put these out and there's alcohol in them. No. Cut those out. Okay, so you can use the tried and true making a food plate. Here's a realistic example of what a 3-year-old might do or a 4-year-old, and that's okay. They cut out their food, and this may have taken them the whole time, the whole 15 minutes for small group, and that's okay. It's okay. This is awesome. If cutting is hard for them, that is a realistic expectation of what some of your friends' plates might look like. So this is also what I do to my food ads when I put them out, because this giant thing that's all connected, that is too big for my little friend's hands. So I will put it out like this. And that way they can look on both sides. Again, this has alcohol on it. Get rid of it. And then you can put these out. And now look, you got one food ad. Oh, that has wine. And you have 4 pages of fun. Okay? So that is always fun. So again, the tried and true. If you have my grocery store dramatic play unit, or you can make this really quick on the computer too, make a shopping list and everybody can cut out the things that they want to buy from the grocery store. And they're always like, but I wanted waffles. And I'll say, oh, well, why don't you add that to your shopping list? And I'll obviously model the activity first really quick. I'll say, okay, I'm going to cut out, and I'll cut out one thing and put it on and say, oh my gosh, I want bananas too. And I don't see bananas. So then I will draw the banana and put that in first initial sound. And then I'll say, okay, now you guys do your shopping list. And then they do theirs. And this is also a great thing to put in their portfolio for either a writing sample or a cutting sample after you're done with the unit. So make shopping lists. And do you have to have the little thing that says shopping list at the top? Absolutely not. You can totally use a blank paper and write shopping list with a marker. That works too. Doesn't have to be always so super fancy, but it's still fun. Okay, so another fun thing you can do again with food ads, or you can do real containers. This is a freebie in my food post, and again, I will put this the link after we're done, or you can find the links where the links are. This is a like to eat book. So all you're gonna do is you are gonna take paper bags. This is what I keep in my planning. My like where I keep all my activities for the next year. So I have some paper bags that I have left over. And what I do is I put the printable and I put it on each person's bag before we do the activity. So that way they write their name. You can have your name cards out. Have the name cards out if they need them. That way they can write their name as best they can. And again, if it's a scribble, that's okay. Just write their name really little in the corner. And then what they're gonna do is they're gonna cut out all of the things they like to eat. So here is the cover page, and I just cut out some things. And then like Austin likes to eat all of these things. And I actually had to use contact paper to laminate this, and then Charlie likes to eat these things. Nina likes to eat this, and so on. So, but it's a really fun class book. And again, it's covered in environmental print. There's, even if they have like watermelon and steak, this one has cheese on it. So, and that one has yogurt on it. So again, lots and lots of fun. So this is a freebie on my blog. It's in the food activity post. So, and then here's another one that I did another year. It was on a smaller little paper bag. So, and I always save the cover. That's my old one before I made it the freebie on my blog. So there is that. So again, and this is fun to keep out the rest of the years, like a class book. So we have that. So candy. Kids love candy. I love candy. So this is a super simple one-to-one correspondence game. Now, if you don't want to use candy, it's okay. Don't use candy. Use any food wrappers. So you could use like Cheez-Its and animal crackers, anything that you have a bunch of, but candy is always a really fun one. And then all I do is I put on, okay, something spilled on this, so I need to put a new baggie on this. But I had a baggie taped on here, and then in here, I would have my pieces because I would store this in between two shelves where like a little crack was. And then we have a red bear for Snickers, blue for Crunch Bar, yellow for M&M, orange for Reese's Pieces. And then I made the dice. It's just a regular dice, and I just put dots on it. And now I only have 4 colors. So on the 2 of the sides, it was like a U pick. So I just put little colored dots. So that way they could pick. So they roll the dice, red. It would move 1 red. And then the next person would roll dice. Or they would roll it again if they were playing it independently. Yellow. 1 yellow. So this is a really good game for friends who are just working on one-to-one correspondence. They're just starting developing those counting skills. So this is great for like 3s and 4s who really need to practice to move like one-to-one correspondence, like super basic. They're gonna move 1. And you can talk about more and less. These are equal to, or they're tied. So they're equal, they're the same. They can count how many. It gets really heated and a very exciting game when there's one all the way up here and one down here. It's also kind of it's a team game. So no one is a certain color. So like if I roll, you pick, I could roll orange, and then let's say Charlie sits next to me and he rolls orange. He's gonna move the orange one too. So it's a team game. There isn't a winner, which is a really great because everybody's working collaboratively to get one little bear to the top. And you can use any counter you had. I just happen to have these in my classroom. And again, I just take baggies to the back, but apparently something spilled on it. So, and it's laminated, so I would just rip this off and put a new baggie on the back. Super fun. I made this my first year of teaching, and it's lasted, and you guys, they would love this game every year I brought it out. So it's really, really fun. Another game, and again, you guys, I made this probably like my second year of teaching. Okay, so it is a giant packing. I had one year, I'm gonna move my camera a little bit, where my students were obsessed with giant games. They loved games that were huge. So I would make poster board games, and you guys, they loved this game. And it literally has the grocery store at the start, and it's a car to end. So they're like going through the grocery store and they're buying all of the different things to get here. Now, all they would use for this game would be, I would have dice on my shelf. So they would pick a dice, and then they would pick a counter, because I have a jar of like random counters that they can use and for games. And they would all start on the grocery store to begin with, take turns rolling the dice, go 3, and then play until everybody got to the car, because everybody needs to get in the car to go home. We couldn't leave anybody behind, so we always played until everybody got to the car. And again, some of them I picked that had labels on them. Some of them are fruit, but a lot of them you can see I have that have environmental print on them. Now, I've made this with 2 levels, so you can kind of see how this one is harder than this one. And then this one, my students had trouble following the path. So if you can see, I added like a black line that connected the dots. So that way they could tell where to go. This was for my pre-K class, and sometimes they wouldn't finish it, and that's okay. If they want to be done with the game and their attention span is gone, that's okay, they can be done. But you can tell, this one was shorter, this one was longer. So, make some fun giant games for your classroom. You guys, my kids, like I said, one year they were obsessed when I first started teaching with giant games, so I have a bunch of them that I made that year, and I kind of used them like as the years went on, and I didn't have to make them again because I made so many that one year. And you guys, Google Images, like super, super simple. So, but again, so much fun, and it's like, and how you store them. So like these 3 games would go like in between 2 shelves. So that way they were kind of, here, let me see. No, I don't have an example to show you, but they would just go like in between 2 shelves. So they would kind of stick out a little bit, and that's okay. They would only stick out maybe like this far. Nothing crazy where anybody would trip, or it wasn't like a safety hazard or anything. So, all right. So I hope you guys loved my, let me make sure I don't have any more. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Just wanted to make sure. So I hope you guys loved my ideas to help you guys add some environmental print into the classroom. Now you also have a reason to go eat all of the candy because you need to make a game for your classroom. So you're welcome. So you can also too put a note in the teacher's lounge or somewhere like that. If they could please save the wrappers and put them in a bag. Also, if you have a friend with an allergy, be careful. But again, you're laminating this, so it's all on the inside. Oh, 1 year too, My kiddos really loved environmental print, so different months I would have them bring in different things. Around Halloween, I gave everybody a little baggie and said, please send in 5 candy wrappers, and we sorted them, and we played games with them, and we measured them, and we graphed them, and all kinds of fun things. Again, bringing in a cereal box is a really fun one. You can also do things like a shape. A different month, like bring in a container a food container that's a cylinder. That's really fun to do during like 3D shapes. Like one week you can say bring in something that's a cylinder that is from your pantry. So those are fun too. Or bring in a food box that has the letter and your name in it. If your kids really get into environmental print, you can really do some fun things where you can make that family home connection piece. So, all right, well, you guys have an awesome night. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, all the links I'll add after this. So if you're watching this on the replay, the links are in the bottom or they'll be at the top. So you guys have an awesome night, and I will see you next time. Bye.